We're looking at the Eugene, Oregon pilot sighting. I need to give people a little bit of context as to what's going on. So there was air traffic control audio that was released very soon after, where pilots were stating, I'm seeing these very strange things in the sky. Are you seeing them on radar? How do I go about this? I've come across and I've looked at and investigated a lot of air traffic control audio. And you will never, never, ever, ever hear air traffic control mention or classify an object as a UFO, ever. Because they are aware that this information will be either taken by government officials or be public information. And for them, they don't want to stigmatize the objects that are being seen by pilots as a UFO. So they'll use any other term. In this case, for the one that was seen was like last week, air traffic control had mentioned fly across that UFO and keep going forward. It was remarkable and it stood out so much just because they avoid using that term at all costs. There have been a lot of stories of air traffic control operators being told by pilots that they've seen very strange things in the sky. Many of the times, they are not being seen on radar. Soon after these strange sightings of UFOs, someone standing right behind these air traffic control operators and stating to them, you will give me that audio. And you will tell me everything that was just mentioned to you, and then you will be quiet about it soon after. We've seen it too many times to count. And I can imagine that they have this level of fear as well on that. So for the term UFO to be mentioned, it's remarkable, and it might show the changing of the times with this, especially when we're at the end of 2024 and more pilots are talking about their UFO sightings more so than ever before. Because just a few decades ago, if a pilot were to ever mention they saw something strange in the sky, their wings would be removed and they would have an office job. We've seen that too many times. Now, the consequences aren't as dire. If anything, the pilot that saw this UFO in Eugene, Oregon, was told by his flight agency that he's able to give interviews and to talk about it. That would have been unheard of 5-10 years ago. Now, it's just a fun conversation.
And as far as like how you would compare the Oregon sighting to what's going on the East Coast?
It's not surprising, to say the least, because we're seeing these objects all across the United States. Yes, mainly on the East Coast at this time, but the West Coast is also very popular for their UFO encounters as well. So for a state like Oregon to see these strange things, it's no surprise. Oregon in itself has a lot of strange sightings. We can look at California, which is right next to it. So could they be one and the same? I don't know about that. But for me, is that it's being spoken about on a daily basis, that maybe people are just being more in tuned with this news and it's always happened, but we're just now getting the public coverage on it today.